So that's the end of the practice day. Went through a whole sweep of setup changes on the car. I'm really happy with how it is. There's a couple of drivers in this meeting this weekend who are really fast, although they are normally front runners. So let's see how that pans out in the race and see who our new rivals are. Sebastian Musica has done a full strip down on the rear of his car to clean, which I massively approve of. I love the effort. The axle's over there. Everyone should do this. I definitely can't be bothered.
A few people are just really fast and I'm not that fast. I need to find something for tomorrow.
It's all part of my package, so... my package.
What a beautiful day to go go-karting. Me and Alex have our coffees. Johnny's got his race suit on like he's a cadet on his way to the track. Alex, where are you going to finish today?
First. I'm top five.
Okay.
Top five, podium would be awesome. However, my two biggest competitors for P3 are Tom Angier and Tom Stalker, and they were rapid yesterday, so I wish them luck. So we don't mind if Johnny wins.
If Johnny's ahead of us, it doesn't actually affect our championship. We don't gain as many points.
I'd actually rather Johnny won. If Johnny can just go off and win, I'd be really happy.
No, but yeah, you're f***ing high on painkillers, clearly.
Right, heat one. There are 26 karts on the grid. Absolute record grid for GXUK. It's been a complicated and confusing couple of days because the track seems to change massively depending on the temperatures. Setup, I really don't know. I've changed engines, I've changed pressures dramatically, you know, huge differences. And I've just gone back to what I felt most comfortable on yesterday. This might not be brilliant, this is just going to be a bit of a fight. There are so many quick people all around, and a lot of them are ahead of us. Everyone around us is now fast and in good equipment. It's a very different prospect here to the last time we raced here for the Oakley. The quality of the grid has dramatically increased. The drivers are great, they've got great karts, they know what they're doing. This should just be a really good race. Here we go. So welcome to Heat 1 of the weekend. This is actually an interesting race. Not the most action-packed of the day, but actually still pretty interesting, and that's because we've got some strategy involved. All of us in the fight know that we can't afford to do anything rash and lose any positions because it's so difficult to gain those positions back. So as you can see at the first corner, I've made a place or two just by virtue of being on the inside line, and I'm now up behind Tom Stalker in the number 31 kart, who in turn is chasing Tim Kansas in the number 79 kart. And we're all slightly held up. All of us in this little pack here are looking to move forward, and everyone's being a little bit wary of everyone else. They don't want to go for a move in case that then opens them up to be overtaken themselves. You see Tom ran slightly wide there on the exit of that double left-hander. That's given me the first indication that maybe he has a weakness and there might be an opportunity to overtake at some point. At the moment though, just going to follow him, trying to work together as much as possible to not lose the pack ahead of us and make progress. Tom was one of the fastest drivers in the practice the day before. I know he's going to be a front runner today, so there's no point battling with him when both of us should be quite a lot further up the grid. Now, he goes defensive into the hairpin, he's looking for an opportunity to overtake the karts in front of him, and I kind of follow him to make sure nobody can go around me. Tom's looking up the inside of Tim, and actually he's managed to get that inside line. Tim's given him the room, and I'm quite annoyed now that I'm one place behind him. I really want to go forward with Tom. So immediately I'm looking for a gap on Tim, and again he gives me the space, so it looks like I hopefully can stick with this pack. I want to catch back up to the rear of Tom, and we've now got Alex Van Gien as the kart ahead of us. who's going to be the next one we're going to both try and pass. So heading into turn 1, for the first time I've now actually got some space. Our lap there was a 45-second lap, not very fast at all, and you can see we're now 6/10 up already on my Delta, so you can tell how much we've been held up. Alex Van Gien overtaking George Massey in the 55 kart there, and now they're communicating. It is technically banned in this series, communicating with hands off the wheel. We're all getting used to that as a new regulation. So if you see that in this video, it's not really being penalised in this event, but it will be going forward. So I'm going to try not to use too many hand signals. Right, we're now back with this pack. There is a breakaway leading group that's getting a little bit uncomfortably far away. George Massey's now defending from Tom Stalker. Alex Van Gien's the one getting the lead on our little group here. So both Tom and I want to get past George as quickly as we can. We want to tag along. It looks like Richard Melton Baxter ahead of Alex Van Gien. Tom's now really looking for a move. George makes quite a late defence, and Tom then decides to back out of it. And I really go for the only room I can, which is into the outside gap. I'm not really trying to overtake there, just trying not to be held up so much, and I don't want to be overtaken from the kart behind me. Again, Tom makes a slight error, going pretty wide on the concrete rumble strips on the exit of that double left. Again, I'm thinking there might be a weakness there I can capitalise on later in the race. And for now, again, just settling into this slipstream, need to try and find an opportunity where there's some kind of mistake from these karts in front. And there isn't one forthcoming at the moment. So pushing as hard as we can, trying not to get in too many battles that are going to lose us time. George defending. Tom knows if he doesn't defend, I'm going to look in that gap on the inside. And it looks like we're all closing back up to the rear of Alex Van Gien there as he fights with Richard Melton Baxter. You can see Alex going down the inside, or looking at least, into the double left-hander. Tom Stalker doing a similar thing, and again running slightly wide of the apex in the second of the two left-handers. So coming into the final corner here onto this next lap, we're really in a little pack of 5 karts, and Tom goes for a gap up the inside, gets a little bit balked by George defending, and that gives me the run around the outside. So finally, I've managed to make up that position. It's taken a while, it's frustrating, but it's really going to be a case of moving up one by one in this event today. People are just too fast, too good to make easier moves than that. So this time I'm not really close enough to George, and he very wisely doesn't defend fresh air, so he pretty much keeps on the racing line. I've now got someone else to try and work on, and it's difficult to lunge into a gap when the kart you're behind is pressed up against karts in front of them. If I go for a lunge, I could end up hitting those karts in front. So I'm looking for something to happen, some kind of error, a battle in front, anything that gives us an opportunity to get around that kart ahead of us. And at the moment, that's George Massey. And if we skip ahead one lap, that's about to happen. Alex Van Gien in the blue suit ahead of us has a chain fall off heading onto the main straight. And that obviously slows George down and gives me the chance to get 2 positions. And now it's Richard Melton Baxter next up. So we've skipped ahead another 3 laps because I've just spent all that time desperately trying to get past Richard, and he's been defending excellently. There just has not been any space at all. But this time around I do get a run on him heading down to the hairpin. He goes defensive initially and then moves back to the racing line, giving me a nice clear gap down the inside. And now all I need to do is slot into that gap and stay tight to the inside, but Rich doesn't actually see me. You can see he comes back across to the apex and we make contact. And at the time, for around 5 seconds, I'm not very happy about that. I thought I'd made a really clear move. So I have a kind of little sarcastic laugh, shake my head a bit, but after the race, me and Rich hugged it out. He came up to me and said he didn't see me, and so no hard feelings, all good. And to be honest, that's it for this race. So we crossed the line in 4th place, quite a nice climb up from 11th, good points in the bag, and I'm really happy with that result because that could have been a heck of a lot worse. And out front we had Jacob Sharrock, followed by Tom Angier, and then Russell Endine in 3rd.
Sorry, I realised as soon as I took my hands off the wheel, I was like, I wasn't supposed to make any signal, I'm sorry.
I didn't think you were coming.
Yeah, okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
So heat 1 done, sun's come out now, P11 start, P4 finish, happy with that to begin with, starting 2 places higher in the next one. See you there.
Okay, heat number 2, again surrounded by really fast people. We've got a kart I built just here, on the left here with Charlie Furman. Russell Ending, who came 3rd in the first race. Alex, who was running up the front until his chain came off, which is now sorted out. Jacob Sharrock directly in front, he won the last race. Johnny Elliott's on pole, so he's been struggling with straight line speed, but you cannot discount Johnny. Quite a lot of really, really fast people. Directly behind me, we've got Tom Angier, and then behind him we have Tom Stalker. So lots and lots of quick people all around. Wish me luck, guys.
So on to Heat 2. This time at the start, I spot Alex Van Gien in the blue moving across into the right-hand lane before the lights go green. Now, I didn't remember raising a hand, but clearly noticed something was wrong at the time and subconsciously raised my hand. So again, if we want to avoid any penalties, I've got to force myself to not let go of the steering wheel. So talking about the race itself, pretty good start. I'm on the inside, everything's going quite well. We're just following Jacob Sharrock, and we've got Russell Endine there on the left, although Jacob has managed to break away. And because I back off slightly to avoid Russell, Tom Angier has now come through the gap, so we have an extra car in front of us. Although I do have the inside line. Can I manage to stay alongside him? No. I've lost a place. This isn't going brilliantly well. One of the drivers I've highlighted as being a real threat in this race has managed to get through, although he's doing some massive wheel banging with Russell Endine, really forcing his way through. So at least that's helped us get one position back. We're on the inside, we've got the high ground for the first corner. This is actually looking slightly better. Don't really want Jacob Sharrock to get away from us at this point. And now we've got Russell back up our inside. So unfortunately, Tom Angier is pulling away. I'm going to have to defend from Russell and potentially lose the karts in front that I'm desperate to catch up with. But fortunately for me, they are actually battling. So we might be able to close back up. We just need to try and keep moving forward. This series is all about just scoring as many points as you can in every single race. The heats count for a lot of points, and I really want to win this championship, so every single position we can make up is going to count at the end of the season. So next up, it's Sebastian Musica. Need to try and line him up for a move. We've caught him up, so that suggests we're probably quicker, but it's just going to be a case of where he makes a mistake, or if he makes a mistake, and can we get through. And into turn 2, he gets sideways, and that just really opens the door, gives us a nice easy run. So I can go down the inside, and once again we're back with Tom Angier, and we're going to try and move forward together. Number 14 there, making good progress. And skipping forward a lap, that kart makes a move on George Massey. George does a half defend, but not early enough and not far enough to the right, so that's let Angier get through. So it's time to work on George, and his defending has been brilliant all day, and he's going to do more of the same here. He's really trying to block off the inside, and in fact, he actually makes a move on Tom Angier. It's a good move, but the problem for him is he can't get back across to the left. He didn't make the move stick, and that just gave me the run around his outside, which was then the inside for this double left-hander, and that's another place gained for me. So we're back with Tom Angier, and now we're both behind Alex Van Gien, but in front of us, Jacob Sharrock goes for the lead and makes contact with Johnny Elliott. So Johnny's off on the grass. That's another position gain for us. That came out of nowhere. Didn't really see it happen at the time. But in the ensuing melee, we've lost a bunch of time to Tom and Alex in front. But fortunately, they're going slower than our potential pace. We've closed straight back up to them, and it looks like it's Simon Fuller in the grey suit and the white helmet who's the cork in the bottle at the moment. So as we head into the closing stages of this race, we're currently in 6th position, looking to make up a couple more spots, not really sure how. As you've seen, every single move so far has been a real fight. There are no easy moves unless the kart in front makes a significant mistake. And heading into the final few laps now, Alex Van Gien takes a little bit of a look at Simon Fuller, but it's half-hearted. He gets caught up on the curb, and that gives Tom Angier a run around his outside. Now I think I've picked the correct lane here, but Alex just doesn't have the straight line speed to hold off Tom, and Tom's now escaped. He's working on Simon Fuller, and it's now down to me to try and get past Alex in the closing stages, and that is not going to be easy. So we can close back up to his rear, and we're going to go for a move on the following lap. Looks like a gap into the final corner, so I go for it. Alex gives me the room, but I just don't have the momentum coming off the corner to stay ahead. He just drags back in front of me. I'm not massively happy with my straight line speed in the whole event, but that was really because I lost the momentum coming off the last corner, so we're going to have to try again. Not very long left in this race now, and Alex knows exactly where to position his kart to stop me coming through. He gets to the right before I've got time to get into the gap. And again, we're just slowing each other down, but there's not a lot we can do about it. He doesn't want me to come through. I'm desperate to come past and just trying to find any gap I can. The only real saving grace is that Tom Angier up ahead hasn't managed to get past Simon Fuller. but imminently he's about to make an attempt. Into the final corner on the final lap, he makes a bit of a messy move past Simon, inconveniences both of them, that then slows down Alex. I almost get beached on the curb on the exit, but manage to just cross the line in 4th place.
That was an amazing race. There's Tom Stalker. He's been really quick today, so a pole for him is a good chance of getting his first ever heat win. Main threat here, we've got Tom Angier, who is just back there 1, 2, 3 places behind in the row. He's finished in front of us both times so far, so he's currently looking like he's on pole for the final. He's got drivers in front of him who he's probably been a lot quicker than this weekend so far, so I think, you know, just finishing solidly in 4th, that's going to secure him pole for the final, so he's got quite an easy race. So here we go then, let's see if we can give Tom a bit of a headache. I'm looking forward to some clear air in this race, even if that clear air is being cleared by Tom Stalker. Let's go.
So I was prepared for an exciting race, but I was not prepared for what was about to happen on the exit of the pit lane. Tom, trying to warm his tyres up, immediately lost the rear, and I crashed into him, had to take to the grass, and then really had to fight to get back to my grid position so that I could start from the front. So I was pretty keen to get past Matthew Roberts there. We've been told we weren't supposed to be weaving on the outlap anyway earlier in the day, so I just wanted to get to the front and hopefully not be knocked off by karts doing some tyre warming. Thankfully we got there, and Tom got back there too. Annoyingly though, that contact out of the pits had actually bent my steering, so had a slight track rod bend, and my kart was then pulling to the right hand side for the entire race. So not ideal, but not bad enough to really affect us in a massively negative way. So, with that little incident out of the way, and me still checking my steering, because it was pulling annoyingly to one side, I set my mind to trying to get a good start alongside Tom. Now, the tricky part here is, I don't want to jump the start and cross the start line before Tom and get a penalty. And so in this situation, the power really is with the karts on the right-hand lane. The karts with the inside line into turn 1. They get to just follow the leader, push him along even, and as expected, a kart is up my inside into the first corner. But by turn 2, I managed to get back into 2nd place, and so now everything is exactly as I wanted it to be, heading into the middle of the first lap. Now, Tom Stalker and I had discussed before the race not fighting each other too hard on the first few laps, because we really wanted to get away from the karts that were our main threats, who were a few positions back. We didn't want to give them an easy run at us by just losing time unnecessarily on those first few laps. So Tom has a slight lead at this point. I'm quite happy with that. I've got space to really push hard, and I'm going to be picking up a little bit of a slipstream from him, and as you're going to see shortly, that slipstream will help me drag back up to the back of him. And actually it's in this phase of this race that I get my fastest lap of the entire day. And since we are essentially not fighting in this phase, I'm going to skip forward a few laps to where it gets a little bit more interesting. After working together for a few laps, you join me at the point where I'm really now starting to think we're far enough into the race that I'd like to get past Tom here. He goes wide on the exit of that double left-hander. You remember he was doing that earlier in the day as well, and that just gives me the opportunity to go down his inside, and because he's very fair, he gives me the room. He knows what's going on here. He knows it's just my turn in the lead, and he's now going to work with me. Although, having said that, he was on my right-hand side there. I had literally no idea until I felt a little bit of a rub. So he obviously was getting a bit of a cutback on the exit of the last corner. Anyway, now we're going to work together again. I'm going to feel a few pushes from behind. I know that means he's happy just to push me along. We're going to try not to lose the gap to the karts behind. However, as you saw there from my little glance behind, Tom Angier is bearing down on us. Even the small amount of time we lost from my overtake on the previous lap has managed to bring Tom Angier and the karts behind him back into contention. So it's head down, trying to push hard, trying not to defend if I absolutely don't have to, and just try to maintain the remaining gap we have to those karts behind. And fortunately, that's exactly what we did. So I took my only heat win of the day, and that gave me enough points to take second on the grid for the grand final.
That was really good, man. I was always trying to gauge the gap to those guys.
Do I literally 165 on the nose?
Good. No, it's 165.0.
We've had some really good clean racing, some close racing. The final is going to be incredible. I just need to get through turn 1 on the outside with all the fast people right behind me without going down to last place. So let's just have it. Let's just go have a great race. I hope you enjoy the footage, and I'll see you on the other side.
This grid looks ridiculously good.
We're going to have to do an A and B.
Yeah. We could have 30 at Landau. It could be that big.
Yeah,
Good luck, man. You've got the pace to go walk it. I'm going to be hung out to dry at turn 1. That's my only thing. So it might be a bit of a fight back for me.
So on to the final, and quite a few things happen in this race. Most of them pretty unexpected. The first thing though, I think we were expecting. I'm in the outside lane and the pace is really dictated by the leader, so I try and get the best start possible, but really it's the drivers in the right lane, Tom Andrew in the lead and Matthew Roberts in second, who get through turn 1 in the top 2 positions. And Matt turns around, asks me to work with him, and I've got such a good run, there's just no way that can happen. I go straight past him and set my sights on Tom. So we're going to spend the rest of the first lap trying to close back up to Tom, hoping he can't just pull away in clear air, and that the slipstream is going to be powerful enough to stay in touch. As it turns out, it is. Also, Tom makes a couple of little errors. He runs wide of some of the apexes on this next half a lap, and that just keeps me in contention to try and get a run on him into one of the overtaking spots. And in this instance, it's actually the hairpin, turn 3. So you see Tom goes a little bit wide on the exit of turn 1, has to go defensive, then misses the apex at turn 2 as a consequence, looks to defend but still leaves enough of a gap for me to dive through, and I was side by side by the time we got to the apex, so straight on through. And from that moment onwards, I'm just looking forwards. It's actually Matthew Roberts who's on my right hand side here. Matt's the one who's looking to try and get the lead. Looks like Tom Andrew has been a bit too inconvenienced by being overtaken on the inside and having to run around the outside. And now, as I glance back, you can see there's a whole queue of karts lining up to try and overtake me and get the lead for themselves. It's going to be my job just to try and keep them behind. First point of order is just to defend and hope that they all attack each other, and that will hopefully give me a bit of a gap. And actually that's exactly what happens. The next time I have a check behind on the back straight here, I'm about to find out that all my wishes have come true, they have been fighting, and suddenly there's a massive gap to second place, and second place just happens to be Jacob Sharrock. But I'm pretty happy with this. A big comfortable lead in the final, wasn't expecting to be here, and the kart that's in second place is too far back to get a slipstream from me. So that's all rosy until we see this accident. On the right hand side, a huge crash that's actually done some serious damage to some of the karts, and instead of putting out a red flag, there is a very unusual flag shown to us. That's the yellow and black Battenberg, which is essentially the safety car flag in karting. Now, in all my 30 years of racing, I have never ever seen that flag before, but it was pretty obvious what that was for, considering there was a big crash at the side of the track. So I slowed down, checked why my legs were getting soaking wet with fuel. It was a cross-threaded fuel cap. A little bit worried about coming in underweight because we were losing fuel, but thankfully that wasn't the case, and only a little bit was leaking out. But for the next couple of laps, we just had to drive round at a safe speed with the pack formed up behind me, until eventually I was shown the green flag and I could put my foot down and try to hang on for the final couple of laps to see if I could take an unexpected win. Now, I had Jacob Sharrock directly behind me at this point, and so the only thing I could do was move to the inside and defend, and you're going to see him appear alongside me on a couple of occasions on these final few laps, and I'm just doing everything in my power at the moment to try and keep the high ground, keep my kart on the inside, and not disadvantage myself so much that he goes around my outside. Now, there's only really a couple of key overtaking places on this circuit, and one of them is on the inside to the final corner here, so I position my kart somewhere in the middle just to try and dissuade him from looking down the inside. The other point is into the first corner if someone gets a run, so I just stay tight to the right until the last moment where I just give myself enough space to take a decent amount of speed into turn 1. And then really the other main overtaking spot is into this next hairpin, as you've seen throughout the video, so I stay tight to the inside to really force him around the outside if he's going to try and make a move, and in all honesty that's pretty impossible. So just sticking to the inside at the moment. I've done nothing wrong and I'm pretty happy with this. Looks like we're about to bring the win home. There's only one more lap after this. All I have to do to keep this win is keep Jacob behind me into this final corner.
Jake.
I didn't think he'd go for the move. He'd been penalised for a similar move earlier in the day, and I really just thought he might think twice about going for it. But to his credit, he just took the gap that I gave him, and the contact that happened afterwards was a relatively minor and, in my view, acceptable contact from a late move going on to the final lap. And I would have done exactly the same thing in his position. Having said that, I had noticed it looked like he was trying to let me back through at this point, and I hadn't quite made up my mind whether I was going to accept his kind invitation. So I did my best to get immediately back past Tom Stalker, which happened into the hairpin as you've just seen, and I wanted to get as close to Jacob as possible so that if he did let me through, I could drive back past. But by the time we got to the finish line, I'd made up my mind. I think the move was fair, and I don't want someone to gift me a win when they've made a fair move, just because they were paranoid from an earlier penalty.
The move was good. It was good. It was me. It was me. It wasn't you. It was me. I left the door open to Sharrock. Didn't think he'd go for it. Yeah, so the one time I left the door open into the last corner, he took it. He thought he was going to get a penalty. I think it was fair. The racing in this championship is about being fair. And I thought the move was good. I thought it was my fault. I was only angry momentarily because I thought I was about to lose 4 places. Jacob did a good job, so I'm happy with that. I wanted top 3.
I tried to let you through.
No, I knew you were trying to let me through, but I thought the move was fair, so I didn't want you to let me through.
Right,
so.
Final just finished. What a final! Hope you enjoyed that. That was exciting. Lots happened. I'm really happy. I wanted a top 3. Second place, Jacob. Although he will be a championship rival, he's not up there in the points just yet. And I think, on balance, I think I scored more points than him through the day today. So still extended the championship lead. And it was just great racing. It wasn't a great race for some other people. That shows some damage that's happened to some people like Russell. That is not supposed to look like that.
It used to have that on it. Yeah, a bit of a problem, but exhaust cover's missing as well. Ooh. Bent bumper, bent steering column. Definitely a few things to check out.
And that's why you saw the safety car, period. So anyway, exciting all round. We're going to pack up some stuff, but see you after the pack up and the trophies.
Hello. Probably a tit.
Your first podium.
Yeah, boy.
Well done.
Is it your first podium?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
First time.
Okay. What happened to your top 3 you were going to get this weekend, Alex?
A chain fell off and a technical infringement. But I went from 15th to 7th, so yeah. And I beat Johnny and I overtook you, so.
You overtook me in the warm-up.
Shut up! Hey! Go on, Tom.
Second place, your championship leader, Brad Philpot.
Hey!
First win in the GXUK, Jacob Sharrock.
Hey! Thank you.
Right, so that's it. See you guys at Landau. End of the video. That was an exciting set of races. Loved it. We've got to pack the van and drive 3 hours south. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe. You can subscribe to Alex's channel too. Alex has got a video about this weekend too.
Hi. Mine's a bit more about learning. Alex Van Gene. Just Google Alex Van Gene. You'll find me.
Okay, cool. Right. See you at Landau. Love you. Bye.